Okay, so what's the volume? Okay, so we're going to be working with sets of data values here. And the first thing we're going to talk about is the mean, the median, and the mode. Okay, those are all called measures of central tendency. And the reason is because one or more of those values can often represent the center of the data. Okay, Maddie, stay with me. Okay, so I know you've seen these before, so I'm just going to go quickly through them. We should all know what the mean or the average is. Okay, I mean, it's exactly what it sounds like, right? It's the average of all the values, and the way you mathematically find that is to simply add up the data values, so find the sum, and then divide by the number of values, right? Got it? Okay, what's the median? The median is the exact middle, okay? So in order to find the middle, first you have to what? List them in order, okay? List them in order from smallest to largest, and that'll help you pick out the middle value. Now hold on a minute. Suppose there's 11 values. Wouldn't you knock off 5 on each side, leaving you with one middle value? Right? That would be the median. But what if there's an even number of values? Like what if there's 12 values? How are you going to find the middle value when there's an even number? Well, you're going to knock off 5 on each side, and that leaves you with 2 middle values, doesn't it? And then what? You got to find halfway between those two numbers by what? Adding them up and dividing by 2, and that'll give you the middle of those, and that'll be the median of the whole set. Does that make sense? Okay? So again, if there's an even number of values, there will be 2 middle values. In that case, the median is the average of those 2 middle values. Okay, what's the mode? Well, mode kind of sounds like the word most, doesn't it? Yes? And so that's an easy way to help you remember that the mode is basically the value or values that occur most often. So let me go through some quick examples. Ready, Gina? Okay. Do any values there occur more than any other? No, so there's no mode. What about here? What's the mode? 7, because there's 2 7s and there's less of everything else, correct? Yes? What's the mode here? 4 and 16, because 4 and 16 occur more than other values. Yes? Does that make sense? And then here, even though they all occur twice, there's still what? No mode, because no value occurs more than any other value. So you see there's no mode there? You with me, guys? Okay, now what's an outlier? An outlier is exactly what it sounds like. What is it? It's a value that's what? Kind of way out there or way out there, right? It's either much bigger than most of the other values or much smaller than most of the other values. That's called a what? Outlier. Does that make sense? So an outlier can only be on the ends, correct? Correct? Yeah, it's either one that's way out to the left or way out to the right. Okay? All right. All right, so this is a group problem. Okay? Use the home screen. What do I mean by the home screen? What's the home screen? It's the main screen where you do all your multiplication, adding, subtracting, and everything, right? It's your main calculation screen. And if you're ever anywhere else, suppose you're on the grass screen. How do you get back to your home screen? Second, what? No. Second, quit takes you back to the home screen. Suppose you're on some random menu. How do you get back to the home screen? Second, quit. Got it? Suppose you're, I don't know, suppose you're there. How do you get back to the home screen? Second, quit. So second, quit always takes you back to your home screen. Is that clear? Yes? And where's second, quit? Second, mode. All right, so anyway. Okay, so even though this is a group problem, I think we should do this one together. Ready? So how do you find the mean or average? What do I got to do? I got to add them up and divide by what? Yeah, how many are there? How many are there? 8. Okay. So what you're going to do is this. You're going to, what I would do is, again, you could add them first and then divide later, or you could do it all in one step. Let me show you how you do it all in one step, guys. Stop whatever you're doing. Please watch. This would be a good time to use the fraction bar. Where's the fraction bar? Where's the fraction bar? Alpha, y equals. So choose option 1. And so what you can do is on top you can just do 2.6 plus 3.25 and so on. please double check that you're not making any mistakes, because one wrong number gives you the wrong answer, obviously. Whoops. Okay, so just double check them all. Go back if you have to. Double check them all. Okay, looks good, doesn't it? Okay, and then if you go down here, you divide by what? How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 8. Divide by 8. Okay, so if you put an 8 in the denominator and you hit enter, it'll give you the answer. It's 3.405. Okay, guys? Got it? All right, now for the median, you guys, you're going to have to put them in order, and you're going to do that on paper. Okay, so just put them in order. What's the smallest one? Help me, guys. What's wrong, Ben? Yes?
So, will it count for this like round because mine said 3.32.
Then you must have punched in the wrong number. It shouldn't be that different. It should be the same. Just double check your numbers, Ben. You probably just typed one in wrong. All right. For median, you've got to put them in order. So what's the smallest one? Anybody? Okay, what's next? 2 point what? What's next? By the way, cross them out as you use them. 2.9? What's the next one? 3.25. What's next? 3.4. Okay, what's next? Okay, what's next? And finally, 4.92, right? Okay, so how many are there? 8. So how do we get to the middle? How many do you knock off on each end? How many do you knock off on each end? 3. So if you knock off 3 on each end, that leaves you with 2 middle values. And so the median will be halfway between those two. So if you add them up and you divide by 2, you get what? What do you get? All right. And again, you can just do 3.25 plus 3.4, then you can hit enter. And if you want, you don't even have to type anything else. Just hit divided by 2. By hitting divided by 2, it'll take your last answer. I didn't type in that ANS. It automatically put it there. So after I got the 6.65, all I did is hit divided by 2. And what it'll do is it'll take your last answer and divide by 2. So does everybody agree that that's my median here? Yes? Okay. Okay. Again, you guys, before you find the mode, you want to put them in order too, because that helps you see if there's any repeated values. Okay, so is there a mode? If so, what is it, guys? What's the mode? What's the mode? No mode. Would you agree there's no mode because no numbers occur more often than any others, so there's no mode here? Okay. Okay, I'm telling you right up front, on this set of data values, there is one outlier. Who wants to tell me what it is? Again, they've got to be in order usually for you to see that. What's the outlier? Thank you. Everybody agree? I mean, think about it. This is kind of close to that. This is kind of close to these, but this one's way over a minute, right? Longer than everybody else, right? So do you agree that that'd be the outlier, 4.92? Yes? Okay. Okay. Everybody write an answer for E. Go ahead and try that one. You can talk about it in your groups, and then write your answer down if you agree on it. You can't do any new calculations. No calculations. Put the calculator down for right now. Answer the question, but you got to talk about it with your group. Again, no calculations. Just think about it. Think about what would happen. Okay, write your answer. Talk about it in your groups, guys, and write an answer here. Okay, Shelby, what'd you guys come up with? Yeah. The mean would be smaller. And the reason is, since what? Since the outlier, which is 4.92, is what? What about it? It's what? Yeah. And so if it's larger than the mean, that's... So if you're throwing out a number that's larger than the mean, won't that always bring down the average, won't it? Or mean? Yes? Okay. Okay. All right, good. Next page. All right, Jay, can you read that box there at the top?
The term dispersion refers to how things are spread out. The more spread out they are, the more dispersed they are.
Got it? So the more dispersed, that means the more spread out. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, there's a couple types of measures of dispersion. What are they? Number one is the what? The range. The range is pretty easy. To find the range, that's just the smallest, the largest minus the smallest. Okay? So you just take the difference between the greatest value and the smallest value. Okay, and that gives you the range. Does that make sense? The range is what? The highest minus the smallest. Okay, now this is the hard one right here. Okay, so we're going to be spending some time on what the standard deviation is. The standard deviation of a data set is the value that measures how much a typical value in the set differs from the mean. Okay, and it can be calculated using the following formula. Okay, so here's the formula. And you need to know what each of these mean. What's this x with the bar above it? And that's exactly how you say it. You say that as x bar. Maddie, come on now. You got to pay attention. That, which we call x bar, is simply the what? That's the what? The mean. Okay, we all know how to find that then. I think we all know how to find the x bar, which is just the mean. We just did one a minute ago. What are the x1, x2, and so on? What are those? Those are what? Each data value, right? So x1 is the first data value, x2 is the second data value, and so on. And then what's n? N is the number of what? N is the number of what? Values in the set. Okay? So we'll do an example of finding that in a minute, but before I do that, you need to know some more things about the standard deviation. Hannah, can you read this here? Read the two notes for me. Yep. Okay, that means, so once you have the mean, which is often towards the middle. So if you got a small standard deviation, that means most of the values are kind of crowded towards that middle, right? Towards the average. Okay, continue.
A large standard deviation means that the values are most spread away from the mean.
Okay, so if you got the mean here and you got a lot of values that are kind of spread out from it, that's going to give you a larger standard deviation. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay. Now, here's a simple explanation of what the standard deviation tells you. So, Conrad, can you read it for me?
Simple explanation of what standard deviation tells you. Suppose a class average on an algebra test was 86% and the standard deviation for these scores was 4%. If you take 86% plus or minus 4%, you get a range of 82% to 90%. These means that most of the students' test scores were around...
Yeah, it should say this means, sorry. Go ahead. Read it again.
This means that most of the student test scores were around that range of 82% to 90%.
Okay, so that is, you guys, you got to remember that, because I'm going to ask you lots of tricky questions on the next test about standard deviation. If you remember that, I think you'll never get confused about, or you'll never forget what standard deviation means, okay? That gives you a real simple idea of what it means when I say you got a 4% standard deviation. So what you do, if you have the average and you add or subtract the standard deviation, that kind of gives you a general range on where most of the test scores fell. So most of the test scores fell between 92 and, or 80 and 92. Not all of them, but most of them. Does that make sense? Yes? So you have an idea now what I mean by standard deviation? Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and do this example here. Sarah, can you read just the directions at the top?
The data below shows the rate of the starting players for the Detroit Tigers and the Detroit Lions on offense in the first game of the 2012 season.
Okay, so in this box, there are all the different weights for all the players in the starting lineup for the Tigers. And then over here in this box are all the weights for the starting offensive players for the Detroit Lions. Okay? And what do we want to do? We want to find the what? The mean. Okay? All right. I want this group here to find the mean of the Tiger players, and I want this group over here to find the mean of the Lions players. I'll give you guys a job in a minute. But let's go ahead and guys do that. Go ahead. Well, hold on. I'll let everybody try it. So if you add all these up, what are you going to divide by after you add them up? You're going to divide by what? How many players are there? 10. Okay. Joe, you okay? You already done with the Lions average? Okay. They said the air conditioning is fixed. Does it feel fixed to you guys? No, it's muggy in here. Okay, what are you guys starting to get? Give me a number. Everybody over here should be giving me the same number. What is it? 218. Do we have any agreement on that? Yes or no? Yes? Okay. Okay, how about over here? Give me a number. I got to have some confirmation. Is 216 right for the Lions? 260 or is 216? 269. Do we have some confirmation on that? Okay. Okay. All right, so let's go with those. All right, by the way, what is X bar? That stands for the what? The mean or average. So I can put, for the Tigers, I can put 218 all the way down here, yes? Okay, and Zach, what can I put here for the X bar for the Lions? 269. Okay, good. All right. Okay, and so now, okay, so for the X values, I'm just going to list them. So I'm going to put the 180, then the 184. I'm just going to list them. Everybody okay with this? Okay. And then same over here. I'm just going to list the Lions' weights here. 198, 216, 231, and so on. All right. Now, what am I going to do here, Conrad? It says to take your what?
X minus X bar.
Okay, so that would be 180 minus 218. Isn't that going to be a negative number? What is it? Negative what? 38. Is that right, guys? Do you agree? You got to go in order. You got to take X minus X bar. What's wrong, Ben? Okay. All right, well, you can keep going. I'm just going to write these down. Okay, 184 minus 218, you can do that in your head. It's what, negative 34? This is negative what, 32? Negative 9, negative 3. This is positive 5, positive 17, positive 21, positive 21, and positive what, 52? Is that right? All right, by the way, when you square a negative, it turns what? Guys, what happens when you square a negative? It turns positive. So when I square all these to fill in this column, they all better be what? Positive. Okay, so the middle group, you can do that for me here. Okay, the middle group, I want you guys to do this for me. I'm going to go and work over here on the Lions players in the meantime. Okay, can somebody over here in this group, can you guys help me do this now? Remember, you're squaring all these, so they're all going to turn positive, aren't they? When you square positive or negative numbers, it always turns positive, right? Okay, so you should be doing this for me. Okay, who's got 38 squared for me? Shout it out quickly, guys. Remember, it's not going to be negative. When you square a negative, it should turn positive. So what is it? 1,400 and what? If you got a negative, that means you didn't wrap the negative 38 in parentheses like you should have, because you're squaring the whole negative 38, not just the 38. So, again, you don't even need to put in the negative. You should know when you square the negative, it turns positive. Okay, what's this one? What's this one, guys? What is it? 1,156. 1156. Okay, what's this one? What is it? 1024. Okay, obviously this one's 81, 9, 25. What's this one? What about this one here? Yep. And what about this one here? Okay. All right, let's go over here. Who's got 71 squared for me? Shout it out. 5041. Okay, what else? What's 53 squared? Somebody.
2809.
Okay. Next one.
1444.
Okay. Next.
1024.
Wait, do it again. It should end in a 9.
1089.
Do we have confirmation? It's 1089? Okay, next one.
Is it 2009?
2809 there. Okay. What about this one? Okay, obviously this one's 16. What's this one? What's this one? What about this one? What is it?
1764.
Okay, and what about this one? 29 what? 16. Okay. And finally, what? 3136. Okay. Thank you, guys. Okay. All right. So we've got what we need here. Okay. So if we look back on how to find the standard deviation now, we're finding the standard deviation. Look back. What do? Find the standard deviation. You take all those x minus x bar squareds and you what? You add them up and you divide by what? Divide by the number of values, and then you take the what? Square root of all of that, and that will give you the standard deviation. Are you with me on that? So again, I'm going to take all these x minus x bar squareds that I just found in the table, add them up, divide by n, and then take the square root. Are you ready? Yes? Okay, so here it goes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my square root first. Where's my square root, guys? Yeah, second x squared gives me my square root. And I'm going to get the fraction. Where's the fraction at? Alpha y equals, right? And then on top, I'm going to put all these, right? Remember, you got to add all those up, don't you here, right? Let me know if I make a mistake there, guys. Catch me if I do, please. 'Cause I'm just going real quick. Okay, and then go to the bottom and put, how many are there again? Count them. How many are there? 10? Yes? Anyone else get that? Yeah, again, if you didn't get that, let me know. I mean, you probably just entered something incorrectly. Maybe a wrong digit or something.
Mine was still like a fraction.
Okay, look, if you're getting a fraction instead of a decimal, I need to have you guys reset it. Are you ready? Okay, here's how you reset the calculator. You hit second plus, which is second memory. By the way, let me write this down first. 27.59. All right, so let me show you how to reset it. Ready? You hit second plus, which is mem. You see how it says mem above the plus sign? And it's going to give you a bunch of options. You want to go down and choose reset. Is that clear? And what you want to do is you can reset everything, or you can reset the defaults. I would just reset the defaults, okay? Got it? So you got to choose defaults, hit enter, it's going to make sure you want to do it. It says, you sure you want to do it? Either no or yes. So by choosing reset, it's yes. Are you following me? All right, so that should fix your problem now. So now, when you do that, if you got a fraction, whoa. Wow, that's strange.
Can I just change it for you?
Yeah. I thought the default was the decimals. I was wrong. So
How do you change it to non-default?
let me try something else. All right, so let me show you how to fix this. Are you ready? Let me show you how to fix this manually. Ready? I think it's under mode. And again, it can't hurt to look for something. You're not going to hurt the calculator by looking for something. So if you hit mode, go down. Yeah, see how your answers are automatically, right? You want your answers to be decimals. So DEC there. Got it? So again, let me show you what I did again. I went to mode. Everybody hit the mode button. Gives you a bunch of options, but it's not on the screen, so you have to keep going down. So if you keep going down, it'll give you more options. So this is the one, the answers line. I want my answers to be in decimal form. Is that clear? Yes? Okay, so if you get out of here now by hitting second quit, okay, and again, how do you bring back the last thing you did? Yeah, if you hit second enter, it brings back the last thing you did, and then if you hit enter, this time it'll be in decimal form. Got it, guys? You really got to be good with these calculators. You guys should be calculator experts by the time you leave this class. I've already taught you about 80% of the stuff you need to know for Algebra 1 and Algebra 2 and pre-calc. I mean, there's some other statistics stuff that you'll learn in geometry, but most of what you need I've already taught you. Now, there's some new stuff in this chapter you're going to learn, but by the time you're done with this course, you should have just about everything you need for Algebra 1 and Algebra 2 and pre-calc. Is that clear? Yes? Okay? All right. All right. Now, let's do it again over here. Okay, this time we're going to do the standard deviation for the lions. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to put that into my formula, right? So clear this out. Hit second square root again. Hit alpha y equals again and choose option 1 again. And then just start adding these x minus x bar squareds up. Okay, so 5041 plus 2809 plus 1444 plus 1089 and so on. Whoa. Oh, I know what happened. I forgot something. I forgot to divide by the number of players. How many players are there for the Lions? 1, 2, 3, 4.
11.
Okay, 11. So I forgot to divide by 11. All right, did everybody get that for the standard deviation for the Lions players? Yes? Okay. Good, guys? Yes?
How do you do with all the other equations to get down to like
Just hit clear.
No, I mean like when you go up.
Don't worry about that. You can't. I mean, I think if you reset the whole memory, all that will go away, but that'd be the only way. But you don't need to get rid of those. Just hit clear and you have a clear screen. You don't worry about what was in the past, right?
I mean you could go up and just clear all that, but then
Yeah, you'd have to do one at a time other than resetting the whole memory, right? Okay, let's keep going, guys, here. Okay, I'm going to ask you a question and you got to answer it, okay? Sam, Samantha, just looking at their standard deviations, which team's player weights were more dispersed from the average or mean?
the lion weights.
Yeah, the lion weights. And that's since what? It has, yeah, they have larger standard deviation. Very good. Everybody agree with that? The larger the standard deviation, the more spread out the weights will be from the average weight. Does that make sense? Didn't I explain it in the simple explanation that that's what the standard deviation tells you? Yes? Yes? Okay, so that's going to give you a kind of like a bigger range from the middle of, you know, where most of the players weights would lie. Okay? Okay, now what's the range? How do you find the range for a set of data values? It's the what? The what? The biggest minus the smallest. So for the tigers, you would do what? What would you do for the Tigers then? Anybody? 270 minus. No, for the Tigers, the largest weight is what? No. What's the largest weight? 270 minus the smallest, which is 180. And what does that give me, guys? What does that give you? 90, right? 90 pounds. And what about the Lions, guys? What's the range? The Lions range would, again, be just the largest minus the smallest, which is what? 325 minus what? 198. All right, so what does that give you? What? What does that give you? What is it? 20 what? 127. Okay. Okay, so not only does the Lions have a higher standard deviation, which means, you know, the middle values are more spread out, right, than the middle values for the Tigers. Not only that, but since this has a bigger overall range than that, the Lions players in general are more spread out, aren't they? Yes, not just spread out from the middle, but spread out altogether. Do you understand that's what the range gives you, how far they are spread out altogether, right, from highest to lowest? And standard deviation tells you how far they're spread out from the what? From the middle or average, so to speak, right? Because the average is kind of in the middle, not exactly, right? Are you with me? Yes? So not only do you have to know how to find these values, you got to be able to interpret what they mean. Okay, you can't just find them and write them down without thinking about what they mean. Are you following me? Okay. Okay, so here we go. Holy cow. We got to keep going here. Okay. In our last example, the Detroit player weights were more dispersed from the mean and had a larger range than the Detroit Tigers weights. Do you think this will always be the case? In other words, if a data set has a higher range than a second data set, will the first always have a higher standard deviation as well? Is that always going to be true? Is that always going to be true? Yes or no? Just because one data set has a higher overall range, does that mean you're going to have a higher standard deviation as well? Is that true or not true? Always. Not true. And what would make that not the case? It's not always true. Why? Well, what if you had an outlier? If you had an outlier, but then all the other ones are kind of more grouped together, yeah, that one data set might have a huge range, but that doesn't mean it can't have a smaller standard deviation if the rest of them are kind of all bunched together. Does that make sense? Right? So again, just because the high and low are more spread out does not mean they have to be more spread out towards the center, do they? Not necessarily. Okay? All right? So that may be the case, but not always. Okay? All right. Now I'm going to show you how to enter things into your calculator. Are you ready? All right. So this is how you put a set of data values in. Okay? So you press what? Stat, and then under Edit, you choose Edit. Okay? All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the next example with these instructions. Are you ready? Okay. So here we go. Part A says, take these data values and enter them into your list 1. So again, what do? What do I do? I hit what? Stat, and then go over to what? Edit. Okay? And choose Edit. So I go to Stat, Edit to put the values in. Ready? So everybody hit, clear the home screen, by the way. Just clear. Okay, go to Stat, and then over, and then you're under Edit, and you choose Edit. Everybody following me? Yes? So just hit Enter on that. And if there's anything else in there, you go to the very top. Okay? Again, I was there before. Now I'm up at the top. Hit the upward arrow button to highlight L1. Are you ready? And how do I clear out the list? You hit what? Clear, and then what? So far we've done this. Now what? Arrow all the way to L1 and hit what? Clear, and then what? Enter. Are you following me? And what that'll do is it'll clear out an old list for you and clear it out completely without having to delete each one individually. Do you understand that? Yes? Now, we're going to type these in. So just type them in. 5, enter, 8, enter, 7, enter, and so on. 9, enter, 8, enter, 4, enter, 6, enter. Keep going. Make sure you hit enter after each one. And the common mistake is that you forget to hit enter after the last one. So make sure you hit enter after the last one and make sure it shows up in the list. So the last one in the list should be what? 8. Okay? All right, so we're done with step 1, correct? We're done with step 1. Following me? All right, now, what do we want to do next? It says, so we did that already. What do we want to do next? Use what? Sort A to sort the data in order. How do I use the sort feature? Well, again, go back to the directions if you're not sure. What does it say to do? By the way, I already did this, didn't I? Didn't I just type in all the values? So I'm done with that step. Now what do I want to do? I want to put them in what? I want to put them in what? In order. Okay, so in order to put them in order, I need to be on the what? Home screen. Okay, so how do I get out of here and go back to the home screen? How do I get out of here to go back to the home screen? Second mode, which is second quit. Okay, so what am I going to press now that I'm on the home screen? I'm going to press stat. Right? Everybody press the stat button. And then under what? Edit, you're going to choose what? Sort A. Now wait, what's the difference between sort A and sort D? Sort A says sort them in ascending order. What's ascending order? Smallest to largest. If I chose sort D, it would sort them in descending order. What's descending order? Largest to smallest. I want them smallest to largest. It makes it easier to see them, right? So choose sort A. Now look, what do we want to sort? We want to sort the numbers where that are in what? List 1. So watch how you choose list 1. Are you ready? Stop what you're doing. Does everybody have exactly what I have here? Okay. Okay, it says, okay, so far I've done that. Now I press what? Second 1. What will that do by hitting second 1? If I hit second and then I press the number 1, what do you see in blue? Whoa. Let me do that again. Stat, sort A. Again, what will happen when I hit second number 1? Well, what do you see under number 1 here? Or what do you see above number 1 in blue? You see what? L1. You see that? L1 right there? So by hitting second and then number 1, it'll put in L1 there. Okay, and then you just close it out. Close out the parenthesis. Okay, and when you hit enter, it'll say what? Done. Are you following me? If it says error, then you probably don't have a list there. Or you probably did something else wrong. You should not be getting an error there. If you typed in exactly what I did by hitting, again, second number 1 there to get the L1. Anyone get an error? Who got an error? Who got an error? Okay. All right, now, how do I know that it worked? Anyone want to tell me how I know it works? Well, how do I get back to the list? How do I get back to the list again? Stat, edit, edit. Yes? And sure enough, notice what happened. It changed them in and put them in order now. They weren't in order the first time I put them in, but now when I go back and look at the list that I entered earlier, it is now in order. Isn't it? Yes? Okay. Okay, so I'm going to do what I'm going to do now is make a what? Make a what? Dot plot. What do I mean by a dot plot? Well, for each value, I'm going to put a dot above it. So how many 3s do I have, guys? 1. So put 1 dot there. Okay, how many 4s do I have? 3, so put 3 dots there. Okay, how many 5s do I have? 2. Okay, keep arrowing down. Let's see, you got 1, 6, just 1, 6. Agreed? Okay, and then what? How many 7s? 3. Okay, how many 8s, guys? 4 8s. Okay. Okay, how many 9s? How many 9s? 1? Yeah, just 1 9. Are we okay with this, guys, or not? Okay, so dot plot is pretty simple. Yes? Okay. All right, so how are we going to find the mode, guys? How are you going to find the mode? You're just going to see which one has what? The highest number of dots? What's the highest number of dots? What is it? 8. Okay, to find the mean, okay, how do you find the mean? Okay, well, watch. We're not going to do it on the home screen anymore. We're going to do it this way. Okay? Okay, so to find some statistical values like mean and standard deviation and all of that, okay, are you ready? Okay, so what do I press, guys? I press what? Stat. Okay, first we got to be on the what? Home screen. So how do I get out of here? How do I get out of here? Second mode, which is second quit. Okay. All right, now clear that out. Okay, so I'm going to press what? Stat, and then over to calc, right? I'm going to go over to calc, and I'm going to choose what? One variable stat. So hit enter on one variable stats, right? Okay, and then hit what? Then what? You got to press enter again, right? And a bunch of things should show up. Are you following me or not? Yes? Okay, so the mean is what? What's the mean here? That's the x bar. What's the mean, guys? What is it? What is it? 6.2. What's the standard deviation? The standard deviation looks like that. And so what's the standard deviation? 1 point what? 833. Are you following me? What's wrong, Ben? I'm just...
I'm only the person that says list L1.
Oh, does yours look different than mine?
Oh, I got it now.
Yeah, some of them say they have like an extra step in there. You got to press enter, choose calculate. Is that what was wrong, Ben? Yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot about that, guys. Some of the newer calculators have an extra step in there where it says calculate. Is that clear? I don't know if you guys figured that out. Did you? Okay. All right. Are you okay now, Ben? Do all these show up on your screen or not?
Yeah, except a few of the numbers are different.
If they're different, then again, you probably entered one incorrectly. You got to be extra, extra, extra careful when you're entering those values, Ben. Okay? All right, and then finally, how do you get the median? How do I find the median, guys? The median.
I forgot to add an 8.
There you go. Keep arrowing down until you see MED. What's MED? What's the median, guys? 7. So if you keep arrowing up and down, you get all the values you need. Is that clear? Yes or no? Okay, so we can just write them all down here. So the median was what? 7. And then the mean was what? Back up to get the mean. The mean is the x bar. What is it? What is it? 6.2. And then what's the standard deviation? What was it? Yeah, 1.83 or so. Yes? And then finally, what's the range? The range you'll have to find by hand. So to find the range, you're going to have to do it on paper, or on, well, kind of on paper, but you can do it on the home screen just by doing what? What's the largest one, guys? You can do it. You can just do it in your head. What is it? 9 minus 3, which is what? 6. Right? Everybody agree the range is just the highest number minus the smallest? Okay, now wait a minute. What does this mean, guys? What does this mean? Tell me what the standard deviation means here. Okay, the mean is that, and the standard deviation is what? 1.8. So what do you get if you add 1.8 to 6.2? You get what? 8. Right? What's 6.2 minus 1.8? About what? What is it? 4.6 to, what did we say, about what? 8 point what? What's 6.2 plus the standard deviation? 8 point what? 0.03? So what does that mean? That means that for all the number of bananas, right, on a bunch, most of the bunches had between about what? 4.5 and what? 8 bananas. So most of the bunches fell in that range between like about 4.6 and what? 8. Right? Does that make sense? That's what the standard deviation, and it isn't most of them in that range from about 4.6 to 8?
Is that
8.03. Sorry, Ben. 8.03. So everybody see what I did? I took the average and I took the standard deviation. I added and subtracted that from the average, or mean, and that gave me this range of around 4.6 to about 8.03, where most of the banana bunches lied. Yes? Do you understand? See how most of them fell between 4.5 and 8 bananas? Do you see that? How most of them are kind of right in there? Yes or no? Okay, so I don't want you to just find these numbers without stopping to think about what they mean. Right? Yes? So what I did here is I did 6.2 plus and minus 1.83, and that's how I got this 4.6 to about 8.03. And that tells me that, again, most of the banana bunches had between 4.6 and 8 bananas. Does that make sense? Okay? All right, we've got one more to do. 2 more to do. Okay? And again, this won't take too long. Okay. Any ideas on what to do in example 5? Read it. It'll only take like 2 minutes, but any ideas on what to do here? Any ideas what to do here? Think about it. Come on, guys, think. Any ideas on what I could do? I can write something down. I can use my calculator after if I need to. Any idea what I would do here to figure out what x would need to be? Without trial and error. Trial and error would take way too long. Gina, think. Any ideas? Any ideas on what I would do here? Yes?
you add them all up?
Add them up. Okay, hold on. One step at a time. So let's add them up. And the reason she's saying this is she knows that that's how you find the mean, right? You add them up, and then you divide by the number of what? Numbers. How many? How many values are there? How many numbers did I just add up? 6. Everybody agree? Including the x, there are 6 of them. Including whatever x is, there's 6 numbers there. And this has to equal what? What does this have to equal? 4. I told you what the average is, right? Does this make sense? And now you can figure out mathematically what x is. Are you ready? All right, so real quick, what do I get when I add these up? Quick, what do those add up to? 6, 12, what is it, 19? So now I got x plus 19 divided by 6 equals 4. Okay. Before I can solve for the x, don't I need to get rid of the 6 first before I can touch that 19? So how do I get rid of the 6? Multiply by what? 6 on both sides. So if I multiply both sides by 6, those go away. And now what? Now what? Minus 19. You get x equals what? 5. So everybody agree that that's the missing value that we would need to make the average 4? Everybody agree? Okay? All right. Last problem. Any questions? Okay. Suppose you add a number c to each number in a data set. How would this affect the median? Think about it. Suppose just make up a set if you're not sure. Okay, so if you're not sure, you can experiment. Okay? Make up a set. Okay, so I'm just going to make up a set. 4, 5, 7, 8, and 10. Okay? All right, so how would adding a number to each one change it? Think about it, guys. Wouldn't that be my new set of data values? Yes or no? And so how would that affect the median? What was the median before? What was the median before? Come on, guys. 7. What is it now? 7 plus c. So the median would go what? It would increase by what? C. Very good. Makes sense, guys? Okay, so it increases by c, right? The old median was 7, for example. Now it would be 7 plus c. So I just kind of experimented here and figured it out. Does that make sense? Okay, how would that affect the mode, guys? Would that affect the mode? Well, again, make up a data set that has a mode. What's the mode there? 10. Okay, and then so if you add c to all the values, what is the new mode, guys? That's the old mode. What's the new mode? 10 plus c. So the mode would also what? Increase by what? By what? C. But do you agree the mode would increase by c? Yes or no? You see I'm just playing around with it to figure it out? Yes? And finally, guys, how would that affect the mean? How would that affect the mean, guys? How would that affect the mean? Well, if you take the same set of data values and you divide by what? What would you be dividing by for that set of data values? Quick. 6? Okay, somebody tell me what that is. Quick, quick, quick. We're running low on time. Quick. See, 10, 20, 30, 20, 39, what is it, 51 divided by 6? What does that equal? What would that equal? What is it? 8.5, okay. Now, basically you'd have what? 51 plus how many C's would you have? 6C. And so you can split that up into what? 51 over C plus 6C over C, which equals what? 8.5 plus what? C. Cool. So again, so what would happen, guys? It would what? Increase by what? C again. Wouldn't it? Kind of cool how I figured that out, isn't it? But you see what I did? I took the old sum and I added 6 C's because each one of them is going to have a C added to it. And then I split it up into 51 over 6 plus 6C over 6. We already knew that that was 8.5, so that it would just go up by C, wouldn't it? Yes? Okay, guys, bring up my calculators.